Students can come here to Grief Hall during their selected time slots to pick up their requested items. Just make sure that you come handy with a mask and an appetite. According to Pew Research, around 4 in 10 American adults have said that they have lost their jobs or wages due to COVID-19. That means they won't have enough money for essentials such as food for their families, fuel for their cars, and a roof over their head. If you're feeling overwhelmed or even anxious, you can take a break and relax by lighting your favorite candle, reading your favorite book, or watch your favorite Netflix show.
What do you mean next door? Was it a nice Jewish girl? Hey, just as a sister.
The building of the new stadium will be right here in Knoxville Salvage. It is in the center of the old city where many local businesses and restaurants call home. And while of course the new stadium will attract more people and traffic into the area, the more important question for restaurants in the old city is, will the new stadium benefit them financially when they're trying to run their businesses on game days? Many students and staff have been struggling with their mental health due to the continuous workload this current semester has brought on. According to a survey conducted by the National Association of Student Personnel Administrators, between the coronavirus and schoolwork, students have had an increase in suffering from high levels of anxiety. Trinity Summons, a student at UT, expresses how she feels overwhelmed and stressed without having a spring break.
Mentally, I feel like I'm drained. And I don't feel like I can retain any more information than what I have. And then my mental health has also deteriorated and gone down as it just keeps going, and I never get a break.
While having no spring break stresses out students, faculty also gets the short end of the stick as well, with having to stress and extend their lessons and plans for their classes. Catherine Burrows, a graduate teaching assistant, explains how being a student in teaching has been a challenge for her.
I'm still a student and I want to support my students as best as I can. So finding time to do my readings and to look at the articles that I need to, but also assign assignments and talk to students and do checkups on them. So finding that is a balancing act.
Catherine shares the importance of practicing self-care whenever she feels stressed or overwhelmed.
And when we talk about self-care, it's not just I'm gonna get food to go this one day, but it's continuously checking on yourself mentally, and making sure that you're in the mental place to do the work that you need to do.
If you're feeling overwhelmed or even anxious, you can take a break and relax by lighting your favorite candle, reading your favorite book, or watch your favorite Netflix show.
What do you mean next door? Was it a nice Jewish girl? Hey, just as a sister.
This is Nia Myrthil, UT Today. With the upcoming election being just mere weeks away, there's been a push for more young people to vote now more than ever. Given the 12% decline drop in the BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, and people of color voter turnout, with a similar decrease among millennial Black voters in the 2016 election, there's pressure placed specifically among many young people of color to go out and vote in this year's upcoming election. Kate Williams, a junior at the University of Tennessee and first-time voter, expresses how this election could determine her future and affect similar students just the same.
This election determines quite a lot for the future of myself, or the future of my career, as well as my family. So that's why I think it's definitely important for us to pay attention, not necessarily just a matter of Democratic versus Republican, but there are a lot of issues on the table that we need to pay attention to.
Up until the election, the eligible voting population was the most racially and ethnically diverse it has ever been in American history. But over 100 million people did not show up to the polls. Hugh Nystrom, a former Knox County Commission chairman, explains how just very few votes can determine the final outcome of an election.
On a local level, we saw a local election for one of the highest jobs in our local community swing one way over 23 votes. And that can happen on a national level, because if that happened locally, what if in the electoral college was decided by just one state's vote, and the votes for that one state went one way or the other to the tune of 23 votes. So they count, and I hate to use the cliche of every vote counts, but it really does, because I've seen it.
I'm currently outside the Howard Baker Center, which will be converted into one of the many voting centers for those who want to vote early. It is located directly on campus and will give accessibility for students who are living on campus. Kate Williams also shared how she plans to get her fellow peers involved.
Although I identify as a minority, identify as, an African American woman, I still make sure that I educate myself, and I'm educating others as well in doing so. Don't stop. That's the number one. I can't quit because I'm not working for myself. It's never been about me. It's about the generations coming behind me.
This is Nia Myrthil, UT Today. More than a year after the first COVID-19 cases were reported and the coronavirus was declared a pandemic, there is now a light at the end of the tunnel, a vaccine. History is being made on UT's campus. UT ended Black History Month on a high note when the Board of Trustees agreed to the renaming of campus dorms Orange and White Hall to honor 2 African American trailblazers. Reporter Nina Howard tells us the story behind these names.
Maybe a Ferrari or something.
A Ferrari?
Like that.
Oh,
Vroom,
I would definitely love a new car. No, for sure. I think maybe, like I said, I love clothes, but maybe just a whole brand new thing of shoes. I just want a bunch of shoes just to go with my clothes from winning the lottery.
I love how neither one of us mentioned about paying the debt for college. I love that.
Absolutely not. I want to be responsible, but we got to be realistic.